Hi, I'm Tim, an amateur radio operator with the call sign K5OHY. Welcome to one of my favorite spots in West Texas, Big Spring State Park. I often visit this park and activate for Parks on the Air, a program where hams set up radio equipment at state and national parks to make contacts worldwide. Join me as I dive into the rich history of this area and share why it's a perfect spot for my radio adventures. Big Spring, Texas, sits at the crossroads of the northern Edwards Plateau and the southern Caprock Escarpment, 110 miles west of Abilene and 48 miles east of my home in Midland. The town draws its name from a historic natural spring, a rare oasis in the West Texas desert. This was the only reliable water source for nearly 100 miles. For thousands of years, this vital spring attracted wildlife, Native Americans, and pioneers, forging this region's history. Though its flow has largely dwindled today, the spring's legacy lives on. The Comanche, descendants of the Shoshone, migrated south in the late 1600s after acquiring horses from the Spanish settlers in the Taos area. Renowned for their unmatched horsemanship, they were hailed as the finest light cavalry in the world. By the 1700s, they had displaced the Plains Apache and dominated the Llano Estacado. Big Spring became a vital hub, a key gathering point in their vast territory. Local tradition holds it as one of their 3 sacred sites, alongside Paladura Canyon and Medicine Bluffs in Oklahoma. The Great Comanche War Trail converged at Big Spring, a key gathering point where warriors prepared for daring raids deep into Mexico. Early settlers struggled against the Comanche tactics, dismounting to fire slow-loading muskets, while mounted Cherokee warriors charged, firing arrows with deadly precision. In the 1840s, the Texas Rangers shift the balance by adopting the Colt revolver and emulating Comanche mobility, fighting as a swift cavalry. And by the 1870s, relentless U.S. Army campaigns and the near extinction of the buffalo herd forced the Comanche onto reservations, changing their way of life. As the Comanche's dominance waned, Big Spring drew new arrivals. In 1849, Captain Randolph B. Marcy's expedition, aided by a Comanche guide, mapped the region, marking the spring on the Overland Trail to California, a key route for gold seekers. By the 1870s, a rough frontier settlement emerged around the spring, with hide huts and saloons catering to buffalo hunters. This rugged outpost laid the groundwork for Big Spring's growth. The arrival of the Texas and Pacific Railroad in 1880 marked a turning point for Big Spring, transforming it from a rugged frontier outpost into a vital hub for cattle drives and the iron rails of progress. But it was black gold, oil, that would forever change its destiny. Just 20 miles away, in the summer of 1920, the Abrams No. 1 well struck oil in the Westbrook field, becoming the first commercially successful well in the vast Permian Basin. On July 20th, a towering jet of oil and gas roared skyward, producing 245 barrels that very evening. That moment lit the fuse on an oil boom that would echo across the West Texas plains. By the late 1920s and in the hard years of the 1930s, Big Spring stood at the heart of this petroleum surge. Refineries rose against the skyline, pipelines stretched to the horizon, and oil wealth poured into the community, bringing better schools, paved roads, and a new hope for generations to come. In 1930, the 15-story Hotel Suttles opened in Big Spring, becoming the tallest building between Fort Worth and El Paso, and a symbol of the city's growing prosperity. But when the oil bust hit in the 1980s, the economy faltered, and the hotel closed its doors in 1982, sitting empty for decades. In 2006, Big Spring native G. Brent Ryan invested $30 million to restore it to its former grandeur. Today, it stands as one of the finest luxury hotels in West Texas. During World War II, Big Spring Army Airfield opened on the edge of town, next to the state park, serving as a bombardier school training cadets in high-altitude precision bombing. In 1952, it was renamed Webb Air Force Base to honor First Lieutenant James L. Webb, a Big Spring native and World War II combat pilot who was killed in a P-51 Mustang crash off the coast of Japan during a training mission in 1949. Webb Air Force Base remained a major source of jobs and growth until its closure in 1977. In 1969, Big Spring appeared in the opening scene of the film Midnight Cowboy, where Jon Voight's character, Joe Buck, can be seen walking its downtown streets. Today, Big Spring's 26,000 residents continue to draw their livelihood from the rich Permian Basin oil fields. The city is home to the Delek Refinery. Perched above Big Spring, the 200-foot bluff of Scenic Mountain rises boldly from the vast, unbroken West Texas plains, visible for miles in every direction, bearing a name that soars beyond its modest elevation. In 1934, the state acquired the 385 acres here to create Big Spring State Park, and soon the Civilian Conservation Corps arrived. With hand tools and grit, they've carved the scenic drive straight through the solid bedrock, building lasting trails and stone structures, all for a meager $25 a month. But despite the hard labor, the men ate well on local beef and forged a legacy that still stands today. Big Spring State Park may be smaller than other parks, but it makes up for it with sweeping views across the Permian Basin. A 3-mile paved loop circles Scenic Mountain's bluff, popular with locals for walks and sunset drives. While a newer 4-mile trail offers rugged paths for hiking and mountain biking. Scattered across the park are nearly 300 limestone carvings, some left by settlers in the CCC, others may date back over 600 years. For me, the 45-minute drive is always worth it. The elevation above the flat basin gives my antennas a great takeoff angle, and the park's low noise floor make it ideal for ham radio. When band conditions cooperate, I can work solid DX even with modest antennas and low-power QRP rigs. My odd work schedule leaves me sleepless more often than not. so I usually find myself here before sunrise. There's something peaceful about calling CQ in the dark, sharing the quiet airwaves with early risers and fellow insomniacs across the country, and sometimes far beyond. Even though the main areas and scenic drives stay closed until sunrise, the lower parking lots remain open. And I usually start with a 29-foot random wire, quick to deploy in the dark and a decent performer on 40 and 30 meters. After a spectacular West Texas sunrise, I'll head up to the far picnic area at the top of the bluff, where Scenic Mountain's elevation really helps get my signal out. This picnic area is rarely used and gives me plenty of room. In the fall of 2024, I added a portable 10-meter 3-element beam that made for some thrilling activations. One morning, my good friend Charles, K5OHY the guy that pulled me back into this hobby, joined me for a voice activation, and we racked up 123 single sideband contacts on 20 and 15 meters in just 2 hours. Of course, there's one thing you can always count on here: the wind. Spring winds can be relentless, toppling antennas if they're not anchored tight. More than once, I've had to retreat to the truck and ride it out. Thanks for coming along on this journey through Big Spring's history and one of my favorite parks on the air spots. If you ever find yourself traveling that long stretch of I-20 through West Texas, take a break, stretch your legs, and enjoy this park. And if you'd like to activate while you're here, reach out. I'd love to join. Until then, 73, and I'll catch you on the air.